Have you ever thought about this? What if someone you trust the most knocks on your door at 3 a.m., begging for help, and you open the door, but later you find out that person never even left their room? This happened to my grandmother's sister in 2018. After that night, my family made one strict rule. If someone calls your name after 3 a.m., don't answer. Because near my grandmother's village, there is something that walks in the dark. Something that wears the faces of people you love. And if it takes you to the old well behind the village, you may never truly come back. The village where my grandmother lived was the kind of place that felt dead after sunset. No streetlights, no traffic, no noise, just darkness and cold wind moving through the trees. In the center of that village stood our old family mansion. It was huge, broken, and older than anyone could remember. The wooden floors creaked constantly. Doors opened by themselves. Sometimes footsteps could be heard on the roof late at night. But the scariest place in the entire village was behind the mansion. An old, dry well. People called it the dead well. Years ago, a woman had jumped into that well and died. After her death, strange things began happening in the village. People heard voices outside their homes late at night. Voices that sounded exactly like family members. Some villagers followed those voices into the dark and were found hours later wandering near the forest, unable to remember anything. Others were never found at all. Every person who claimed to see the woman near the well described the same thing. She looks human, until she smiles. My grandmother's sister, whom everyone called Chichi, lived alone in a small house near the mansion. Unlike the others in the village, she never believed ghost stories. She always laughed whenever people talked about the well. People scare themselves, she would say. But in 2018, that changed forever. The night it happened felt wrong from the beginning. Even before sunset, the dogs in the village started crying nonstop. The crows near the well screamed so loudly that people shut their windows early. And there was a strange smell in the air. Not rain, not dirt, something rotten. That evening, my grandmother looked nervous. She kept staring toward the backyard where the well stood hidden behind the trees. Then suddenly, she said something strange. "Don't open the door tonight unless you see the person clearly." Nobody understood why she said that, but her face looked pale, almost frightened. That night, around 3 a.m., Chichi woke up suddenly. Someone was pounding on her wooden front door hard enough to shake the walls. Chichi sat up immediately. Her heart started racing. The room felt freezing cold. Then she heard a woman crying outside. "Chichi, open the door." It was my grandmother's voice, but something about it sounded wrong, like someone trying too hard to sound human. Chichi slowly walked toward the door. "What happened?" she asked nervously. The voice outside began crying harder. "Mother is dying. Please hurry." Without thinking, Chichi unlocked the door. The second it opened, an icy chill ran through her body. My grandmother was standing outside, or at least, something that looked like her. Her head was lowered. Her hair covered most of her face, and she stood completely still, not breathing, not blinking, just staring at the floor. "Lolita?" Chichi whispered. No response. Then slowly, the figure turned around and began walking toward the dark dirt road leading to the mansion. Chichi followed her, but after a few steps, she realized something terrifying. There were no footsteps. The woman ahead moved silently across the dirt road. No sound at all. Not from her feet, not from her clothes. Nothing. Only the wind moving through the trees. And somewhere far away, a dog began howling again. Chichi kept following the figure through the darkness. The deeper they went down the dirt path, the quieter everything became. No insects, no wind. Even the dogs had stopped crying. It felt like the entire village was holding its breath. "Lolita," Chichi called again. "Why aren't you saying anything?" The figure continued walking without turning around. Then suddenly, the wind blew hard enough to move the woman's dress, and Chi-Chi saw her feet. Backward. Completely backward. Chi-Chi froze instantly. Her throat went dry. Every part of her body screamed to run. But before she could move, the figure stopped walking. Slowly, very slowly, its head turned around. Chi-Chi almost screamed. The face looked exactly like my grandmother's. But the eyes, they were completely black. No pupils, no white, just endless darkness. And the smile, it stretched far too wide across its face. The skin near its mouth looked torn open. Then it whispered, "You opened the door." The voice no longer sounded human. It sounded like several people speaking at once, some deep, some high-pitched, like dead voices trapped together. Chi-Chi stepped backward in terror, but suddenly her legs felt heavy, like invisible hands were holding her in place. Then the thing slowly lifted off the ground, floating. Its hair moved unnaturally around its face as it drifted toward the old well, and somehow, Chi-Chi's body followed it, even though her mind was screaming to run away. The closer they got to the well, the colder the air became. Chi-Chi could see her breath now. Then she heard it, crying. Soft crying coming from inside the well. A woman sobbing. Then suddenly, a child laughing. Then a man screaming in pain. Different voices echoed together from deep inside the darkness below. Chi-Chi's entire body shook with fear. Slowly, she looked down into the well, and her blood turned cold. Hands. Dozens of black hands crawling along the inside walls, rotten fingers gripping the stones, trying to climb out. The smell coming from the well was unbearable now, like wet dirt and rotting flesh. Then the woman climbed onto the edge of the well. Crack, crack, crack. Its neck slowly twisted backward, bone by bone, until its head faced completely upside down. Its mouth stretched open wider and wider, far wider than any human mouth should. Inside, there was only darkness. No teeth, no tongue, nothing. Then it smiled. "Now, you stay with us." Suddenly, its arms stretched toward Chi-Chi. Long, unnaturally long. Its fingers wrapped tightly around her ankle. Chi-Chi screamed. At the same moment, more hands shot out from inside the well and grabbed her legs. Cold hands, wet hands, pulling her toward the darkness below. Chi-Chi screamed so loudly that her voice echoed through the entire village. The creature pulling her suddenly shrieked back, a sound so horrible that it felt almost animal. Then, a temple bell rang loudly from the mansion. The woman near the well froze instantly. Its black eyes widened. Then it screamed in rage, "She belongs to me!" The scream was so loud that Chi-Chi felt sharp pain explode inside her ears. Warm blood began dripping down her neck. The dogs across the village started barking wildly. Then, suddenly, the creature let go of her ankle and jumped backward into the well. But there was no sound of it falling, no splash, no impact, only silence. And then, laughter. Slow, echoing laughter rising from deep inside the well. Not one voice, hundreds. Chi-Chi ran, as fast as she could, barefoot across the dirt road toward the mansion. Behind her, she heard footsteps, fast footsteps. Something was chasing her. Closer, closer, closer. Then suddenly, right beside her ear, she heard my grandmother's voice whisper, "Don't look behind you." But the voice came from directly behind her. Chi-Chi nearly collapsed from fear. Still, she kept running, because deep down, she knew if she looked back, she would see that thing standing inches from her face. smiling, waiting, watching. When Chi-Chi finally reached the mansion, she started pounding on the door. Everyone inside woke up immediately. The moment the door opened, Chi-Chi ran straight toward my grandmother's room, and what she saw destroyed her completely. My grandmother was asleep inside, peacefully sleeping in her locked room. The door had been bolted from the inside all night, which meant whatever came to Chi-Chi's house that night was never human. For 3 days, Chi-Chi remained unconscious with a high fever, and during those 3 days, she kept screaming in her sleep. Sometimes she begged someone not to pull her. Sometimes she cried and repeated the same sentence over and over again. She's still in the well. When Chi-Chi finally woke up, she looked toward the bedroom window. Her face turned pale, and in a shaking voice, she whispered, "She came back last night." Then she started crying uncontrollably, because every single night during her fever, she saw the same woman standing near the well, smiling, waiting, watching the house. Even today, nobody in that village goes near the old well after midnight. People still hear knocks on their doors at 3 a.m. Some hear loved ones calling their names outside. Others hear crying coming from the trees behind the mansion. And a few villagers claim they have seen a woman standing beside the well, wearing someone else's face. So if you ever wake up in the middle of the night and hear someone you love begging you to open the door, be careful, because sometimes the thing outside isn't human at all.